You call your art installation Death of a Sun, and I kind of briefly described it as a 45-foot balloon. Can you describe the project for the listener?
So it's Death of the Sun.
Of the Sun.
Yes, it's our sun. So it is a projection piece. I call it a projection sculpture. So when you see this, we're projecting the sun onto the orb.
Okay.
Right, and it will go through the life cycle of the sun. So you'll see the yellow sun, the red giant, the planetary nebula, the white dwarf, the black dwarf.
And what's the inspiration behind that?
Well, originally what I wanted to do was the solar system. So I wanted to do the sun at City Hall, but then you'd have to go through the city and like find the Earth, because it's Nuit Blanche. It's this citywide thing,
right?
But the city was like, no, you get one place. We're not giving you the entire city, and as well, to go to I don't know, Ossington and Queen to find the Earth, and it's really like a ping pong ball.
You've said that your art project is also inspired by your childhood, spending summers up in Georgian Bay.
Yeah.
Looking at that sky.
Yeah, when you look at a clear sky at night and you see all those stars and you really see like what looks like clouds, like it's a really moving experience. And I would have it every summer. And it's not something you get in the city or the suburbs. We just don't realize what we're not seeing. And I was a kid, I look at it and you just can't help but start thinking about yourself and where you fit and what's going on. It messes with you. And for me, I got thinking about life and death a lot. It was a scary thing.
Do you feel bigger or smaller when you look up at a sky like that?
Smaller.
Really?
How could you? I can't. Yeah, I'm small. We're tiny things.
Interesting. The artist statement for the piece also describes it as, and I'm quoting here, a deeply personal and highly evocative meditation on human mortality and people's individual place in the universe. This installation portrays the death of the star that sustains this planet. That is a deep thing to be meditating on. How long have you been in that space? And
well, really the piece is, and that's what the solar system was about. When I wanted to do that originally, I was hoping that people would go and see the Earth and go, oh, that tiny little thing is us in relation to the big sun, right? And hopefully get we're all in the same boat feeling. So even in this piece, that's hopefully the feeling or the thought pattern that you get once you look at it, go, oh. And in City Hall in Toronto, that has a deeper meaning. This is a super remote. Every culture in the world will be represented there, guaranteed. Right. At one time, everybody from everywhere. There's someone from some place on the planet. So for us to all look around the square, hopefully, and be like, "Oh, just us, huh?"
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So the crowd will actually almost become part of the overall feeling.
I hope so. That's that's the point of it all. We're all on this rock, because later in that write up they talk about, I think you might have that on your list, about social constructs.
Talk about that a little bit.
Everything we spend our time on, countries, economies, reasons for wars, racial identity, all of it is social construct. If there's a new TV show, imagine the TV show where aliens come and just turn off our memories.
Yeah,
none of us remembered anything about anything, then what would be real still? Well, the environment's real.
Yep. All those gender constructs would disappear as well.
All these ideas that we have that are just ideas, but we treat so seriously. Economies, people are starving in the streets because, the money, the dollar's not as valuable, right?
Which is a fake thing to begin with.
It's all social constructs. So I'm big on reality. I understand the game, but we need to see that it's a game. You know what I mean? There's inside the game and outside the game. Yeah. And right now we think everything's inside the game.
So I've also read that the part of this inspiration came from your travels around the world. Is there one particular place or happening that you can remember that really got you thinking about doing this piece?
I mean, not so much the piece, but traveling the world got me. That's when I got annoyed with passports and the idea of passports, and just thinking that in a couple hundred years, hopefully, people will talk about passports like we talk about flat Earth. They used to think the Earth was flat, and we're like, I would have known that it was round. Isn't that the feeling you get?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they would have been the one to know.
Yeah, right? Obviously the ship is disappearing when it sails away.
I would have figured that out, stupid humans. But so hopefully people will look at passports and be like, yeah, so you used to have to carry a book. Well, what's a book? It's paper. What's paper? But you'd have to have this book, and then you'd have to go to a person, and the person would interview you, and then they'd stamp the book. And if they'd done that, you'd be allowed to enter that country. What's a country? Well, okay. all these
Yep.
ideas that we have, again, they're social constructs. So traveling around the world with your book, and then someone stamps a book, and then I remember in Germany, this, I have 2 passports and my green card. So I have a Swiss passport. My father's Swiss. So I decide there's these lines, and there's tons of people in the non-European, just it's a pack of people, and then the line over here for the EU is just no one's in it. So I go, man, let me go use this red passport. Here we go. So I hand the guy my red passport, and he says, something Deutsch, or something. I go, I don't speak German. He goes, some Deutsch. What? Then I hand him my Canadian passport. And he pulls out like his, literally the eye thing, like when you're inspecting, and he's looking at the passport, like he thought he had just found James Bond. And then when I show him my green card, he took me a month. There's a whole thing with all, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And how did it end? Well, I put my hands behind my back and was very clear. My father's Swiss. I'm born in Canada. I work in America. And I guess Germans respect
just getting to the point.
Some clear authority, you know what I'm saying? Put your hands behind your back, people, whenever you find yourself in a power position struggle.
Yeah.
Because body language-wise, that means I could beat you with my hands behind my back, is literally what you're saying when you do that. That's why the king walks around with his hands behind, because I'm not scared.
Right.
And I'm completely open.
Okay.
You cannot hurt me.
So your mom is also Trinidadian, so you
Yes.
are a child of the world in many ways.
I'm a true Toronto kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you hoping that everybody who comes to see your art piece will start to have those thoughts, will start to think about a unified planet?
World peace. I'm thinking my piece will start world.
That would be lovely.
That would be great. World peace started at City Hall in Toronto.
Well, it's
on Nuit Blanche night.
It's as realistic as beauty pageant people saying they're going to do it.
Exactly. But that's again, hopefully, the feeling that you walk away from that and just begin to think about the little dot. We're on the little dot. The little dot is everything.
Yeah, it's so true, and it's the only little dot that's lit up, really.
Yeah.
So many people know you from your very famous music videos, Drake's Hotline Bling, Rihanna's work, just a few pieces in a long, long career. And you've also made a feature film and now this art installation. Are there any boundaries to your own art?
None. My performance piece will be displaying soon. I'm joking. My modern dance piece entitled, whatever. No, I mean, if they open the door, look, if someone said do a dance piece, I'd do that. You go with the creativity. If the opportunity arises, you got to take it.
Are there things percolating inside you right now, places that people haven't seen you go yet? That
a modern dance piece called.
Other than that modern dance piece?
Yeah. No, I'm pragmatic about. I'm a director, right? So There is definitely a switch that gets turned. Like, we have this job, we have to shoot on the 10th, we have this much money, and we think we want to do this. Engage creativity, right? So that's part of it. So no, I was not ever, I was never like, man, I should build a sculpture of the sun. If only I had an opportunity it's like City Hall came and said, hey, you want to do something for Nuit?
Oh,
I'm like, oh, okay, let me think about that. And started going through ideas and,
So Saturday night, people in Toronto will be drawn to this art installation. In fact, people were already out at City Hall taking selfies with it. What do you want people to be thinking about as they watch Death of the Sun?
Same thing. And also, for y'all out here, it's going to be going for 10 days extended. So It's from 1st to the 10th. But after Nuit, it's going to be from 7 to midnight. You won't be able. We should go past midnight a bit. We should.
Halifax, they do it all night long.
Yeah, well, Nuit Blanche is going all night long, but the extension will be 7 to midnight.
Okay.
We could squeeze in a little, at least on the weekend. At least on the weekend. I'm going to have that debate later today. But yeah, so same thing I've been saying. When they go and they see this thing, I'm hoping that they get that humanity feel. That humanity is. That is not a social construct, being human beings here. That is what we are.
I cannot wait to see it, and I'm sure the listener is feeling the same way. Thank you so much for chatting with me about it.
Thanks for having me.